Comrade Pillai, language's agent of oppression. Chaco listens to the stomach of his young daughter Sophie Mole, born of an English woman and an Indian man sent to England. New organs getting used to each other, a new government setting up its system, organizing the division of labor, deciding who will do what. The new systems and organizations brooding within Sophie Mole represents the process of colonialism and post-colonialism, particularly in Yemen as a body of both English and Indian ground. Colonialism involved forming a new land, and so unforming and reforming a community that existed there already. Shaped by a variety of writings, the colonialism creates a vast and lasting effect on the countries, but creates fissures within the country. Comrade Pillai exemplifies the specific tactics that Ania Lumba claims colonizers use to perpetuate oppression. Pillai uses language to create a cycle of oppression in the same way as English colonialism. Through the power of language, he creates ideologies that lead the oppressed toward oppression. Lumba presents literature or language as taking a pivotal role in both colonial and anti-colonial movements, and Pillai uses his rhetoric for anti-colonial movement. Primarily, he rules under the guise of Crusader for Justice and Spokesman of Oppressed, a title which increases in irony as the novel progresses. Though he speaks with regard to freeing the oppressed workers and fights for the justice of their rights, demanding union pay, insurance, and hour regulations, his motivation is power and his tool is oppression. In this way, he has given the people an identity through declaring their rights, just as the 19th century British literature gives cultural representation of England to the English. Both the Yemenen and British have seized a social identity, and therefore mission, by the language presented to them. Specifically, Pillai manipulates language to manipulate people. First, dehumanizing and distancing the worker's enemy, Chaco, creates a more ominous enemy. Pillai never openly came out against Chaco. In fact, he was careful to strip Chaco of any human attributes and present him as an abstract functionary in some larger scheme that threatened the revolution and promoted bourgeoisie. Chaco becomes the management. Similarly, English colonists had dehumanized those they conquered by calling them savage or cannibal and feared their barbaric attributes. They have both created an other concept. In reality, this dehumanization fostered a false fear. Chaco had to lower wages due to economic downturn, and the barbarity of these savages was simply a difference in culture. Nevertheless, propaganda overshadows reality. In the setting of a printing press, a setting of propagating ideology, he managed a clever mix of pertinent local issues and grand Maoistic rhetoric, which sounded even grander in Malayalam. The English literature, poetry, travel narratives, and paintings created a truth effect to the English, where, as Sharp and Foucault note, these colonialist ideologies replaced evidence. Pillai uses language to kindle a fire, mindless of its capacity to burn as much as the colonialism has burned them. Consequently, Chaco achieves hegemony as defined by Gramsci. Hegemony occurs not only by direct manipulation or indoctrination, but by playing upon the common sense of the people, their system of meanings and values. This hegemony wields the power to organize and move people as they become aware of their oppression. The colonists have already proven their hegemony, and the only way for those under it to survive is to create a sense of their own power. Pillai admits his hegemony to Chaco in their meeting at his house. But comrade, you cannot stage their revolution for them. You can only create awareness, educate them. They must launch their own struggle. They must overcome their fears. Comrade Pillai's speech proves that his manipulating language has been aimed at hegemony. He further creates a consciousness of the people's personal political struggle. He's appealed to their common sense by showing a threat to their values. For the English, colonization becomes a personal struggle based on their values as the most advanced country, needing to bestow their influence around the world. In conclusion, Comrade Pillai exemplifies Lumba's theories of power of language regarding colonialism. Language is a perpetuation of the cycle of oppression. Each oppressor perceives themselves as oppressed, thereby engaging in camera obscura, where the human mind spontaneously and necessarily invents reality. The Paradise Pickle workers who fight the restrictions of class have found how to respond to a new system of governments, by the ruling of Crusader for the Justice and Spokesman of Peace. In consequence, the workers are unaware of how Pillai's language, like the English, produces oppression toward the God of small things. The cycle continues.